Thank you so much for being here today. He just ranked up as the executive director. Ray has had much success in his system. He is focused on the behavior and not the results, because the results are coming within that behavior of being very structured and consistent. I have to say, and I'll say out here for everybody, Ray just recently recruited a new member in his team, and we wait for the close of the month, of course, but in a matter of 3 weeks, following this system, achieved also senior director in just 3 weeks with Healy. So we are so excited about this, because we all know, we always ask for a recipe. What can we do that is consistent, that is duplicatable, that is easy to follow and to teach? And Ray has a wonderful system, and he is so kind to come on here and actually share with all of you. So Ray, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
We hear you perfect. Thank you for joining us, Ray.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be invited on this call with you today. So, Adriana, you mentioned the recipe. So this is what I call the recipe. We call it the system. And I'm going to highlight some of these things that you're seeing on the screen right now, and then I'm going to get into a little more detail on what that first one involves more, and how we invite somebody for a free scan. So, contrary to popular belief with other network marketing opportunities, what I have found and seen was most people look at network marketing as throwing a bunch of stuff on the wall and hoping that it sticks. Wouldn't you like to know that what you could do with Healy is predictable and measurable based on your activity and your behaviors? So that's why we've put together this system to help people achieve the success quickly, like what Mr. Eric Beal has done over these last few weeks. So we're taking the current promotions and so forth that are available and implementing that into the system. And we've turned this into a executive team manager factory. So you can do the same thing as what we're doing here. So just to begin with here, I'll show you that 15 scans or more a month. Presentation scan, we like to call it a scan because that's our ultimate goal, is to do a free scan for somebody. And then while we're doing that, we tell our story, company story, and how to earn free product and get paid for doing it. The second component of the system is to attend all the events. And that could amount to online Zoom calls, team trainings, so forth. Frequency workshop is something that we put on every 90 days for our crew. And we're now starting to move into weekly meetings with people in local areas where they can invite their friends into the meeting for a free scan, especially if they're unsure about themselves and being able to perform a scan for somebody. We're helping them through that process. And they're learning very fast. We're letting the new people that just have received their Healys scan those new people that are there who never had a scan done prior to that meeting. And we're doing those almost weekly. And then the third component, staying in control of your business. That means make your own appointments and follow up, lead by example. When you're working with other downline members, don't just assume that they're going to do the follow-up. If you want to get paid, you do the work until they start doing it. And then reach down into your organization through the other members that are below you and make those relationships with people that they've sponsored, and build those relationships with those new members, because you never know who they're going to introduce you to. Whoever needs the volume does the work in the follow-up. And then promote. So whatever promotions are going on, like the VIP that's getting ready to happen in May down in Orlando, the current promotions going on with the basically like the the Resonance Edition for the price of a holistic, or the Healy Professional with a free Resonance Edition. A lot of what we're selling in our organization are the professionals, because it's the same amount of work as what you would do with the Resonance, but more volume. And then also with these folks that are working towards getting to executive team manager, let them know how close they are and what they need to do to get there, and work with them until they get there. And we do that with the OJT. OJT stands for on the job training. And then always do what you say you're going to do. That's part of integrity. And if you tell somebody you're going to help them, teach them how to do a scan and so forth. And so we're putting together things in our organization to help make that simple for people. But always do what you say you're going to do. That's not so popular anymore with opportunities out there. And then continue to repeat that process, this entire system. And instead of focusing on the results, focus on the behaviors. So backing up a little bit, let's look at that top that top one there that says 15 scans or more a month. And the key word is or more. So you tell your story, the company story, and how to earn free product or to get paid. And a lot of people look at this opportunity as, I'm not sure that I want to get into network marketing. I like the idea of doing scans and knowing what's going on in my body, but I don't want to sell these things. That's totally okay. So we don't focus on that. We focus more on the free Healy that's available when they sell free in their first 60 days. So let me begin again, or go over this. What does 15 scans or more look like? How do you make that happen? You're going to have to look at your resources. And some people are doing this online through Facebook and other means online. I like to do them in person. And so I've connected with a couple different business networking groups where I can get in front of people as a businessman. And when I walk into one of these events, the objective is to grab a cup of coffee and make a friend. And that's really as hard as this thing is. So when I go to one of these events, which I was just at one a little bit ago, and got to introduce myself to a number of people. And of course, I asked them what they do, because if I know what they do, then I'll know how to refer them, as far as the business realm. And they always ask, what do you do, Ray? So my 30-second response is typically something like this. I'm a manufacturer's rep, and I have a product out of Germany that is cleared by the FDA for chronic and acute pain, arthritis, and muscle soreness. But it does so much more. It's actually a scanner that can scan your bioenergetic field looking for low frequencies, meaning out of balance or out of tune, unhealthy. And then it recommends the programs that you need to boost those frequencies back up to the healthy level. So it could be stuff like hormones or digestion or mental focus or fatigue or sleeping or stress. I just give some of those key words to help people key in on how this might be effective for them. And oh, by the way, we do free scans so that you can understand what our device does, because it doesn't matter to me if you want one of these or not. Most people do, but 500 or more people at some point where we can help them, whether it's pain or one of those other issues I just named off. So when can we get together and do a free personal frequency scan for you? And then as far as my personal testimony, my story, the way I found out about the Healy was I have a 16-year-old boy that at age 15, he had a major growth spurt. I mean, he grew like 6 inches in 8 months, so fast that he's got stretch marks on his back. And plus he was trying to play soccer for high school. And the coach worked him really hard. And this poor kid could hardly walk, let alone run. And we headed out to vacation and we picked up some of our best friends, and they saw him get out of our vehicle and they said, I just purchased something that's cleared by the FDA for chronic and acute pain, arthritis, and muscle soreness. Let's hook him up and see what it'll do. They'd only had the device for about a week. So they connected him to a 20-minute pain program. And 2 hours later, my boy is walking normally. So my wife says, I want one of those. And before we ever got back to Missouri, we had one purchased. And then I'm kind of messed up already anyway. I've had diabetes, type 1 diabetes, since I was 16 years old. And that's 37 years. I'm 51 years old now, but there's all kinds of stuff that happens as a result of having diabetes. So here I am fiddling with the Healy almost all day, seems like, trying to figure out what else can this thing do. And, we're getting excited every moment because it's changing things in our family and our lives. And my wife comes home one day and she says she had an issue, and, I fix problems. So I said, well, why don't you do a scan and run a program? My wife puts her hand on her hip and says, how do you expect me to do that? You're the Healy hog. So I said, I understand. I will be buying you your own device. That way I don't have to give mine up. So we reached out to a person, a leader upline from us, Les, and he said, Ray, if you're going to do that, you need to become a member and sign up your wife and get the Fast Start opportunity, where you can sell 3 devices and get a free Healy resonance. I said, oh, I'm all about the free. I don't care about selling it right now. But if it's this great, I'm not opposed to doing that in the future. Well, we shared this with 6 other people, and all 6 of them wanted one, and they all bought one. And I'm thinking, when does that happen? That everybody you talk to is interested. So we got our free Healy, and then a few weeks later, after the time period for return satisfied, then I got a text message on a Monday that said I had X amount of dollars in my account, and I'm thinking, hallelujah, I wasn't expecting that. So that's part of my story as far as personal. And then we get into talking about the company story, and that's fascinating as well. So the Healy didn't start off as a network marketing company. It's actually part of a company called Time Waiver, and they make the bigger practitioner units that cost anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. And then you got to look at traveling to Germany and getting all the additional training, and that's a whole lot more expense to do that. I had my first experience with a device like that about 5 years prior to the Healy, where I sat down and had an experience where it held these brass rods, and the practitioner sent frequencies into my body, but it took like 3.5 hours to do a complete scan and a treatment. So Healy was actually designed for the practitioners as an extension of their care, so that that client can take the device home with them and use it, because they really needed these frequencies more consistently to really make some faster changes. Well, they realized in a short time that the practitioners weren't great at sales. And so then they flipped this into the social selling arena, and now we sell to the practitioners. So the owner of the company, Marcus Schmika, is a quantum physicist himself. And he partnered up with a guy named Christian Halper, who is a multi-billionaire who invested money to help launch Healy into the social selling arena. And in the first year with Healy, they did over $7 million worth of business. That's pretty good for their first year, right? So the second year, they entered into the US market in May of 2020, not even all the way through the year, just halfway through the year. And at the end of that second year in 2020, they'd done over $100 million. So from 7 million to 100 million, almost overnight, it seems like. Needless to say, that caused some issues with manufacturing, distribution, and people were having a hard time getting their Healys. It was taking 5 to 12 weeks in some cases to receive their device. And then customer service was almost non-existent because customer service was in Germany. So the US market is now the only other market outside of Germany that has its own dedicated customer service. And while they were putting that together, we kind of became customer service to help people get their Healys synced with their devices to make it a little easier for those new users. So, you know, if you're looking for negative stuff, it's out there, but you need to look at the dates on when all that happened, because all of that is pretty well remedied. And they've just moved into a 4,500 square foot space in the Orlando area and have gone leaps and bounds as far as helping with that customer service and addressing issues. So company story is exciting. I can't wait to find out what the total number of or last year's annual gross amount of sales has been. But you know, we don't necessarily focus on asking you to sell this product, but you're going to want that free device. So if you know 3 to 5 people that you can get us in front of, I'll help you do the scans so that you can get results for these people and sell those first 3 Healys so you can get your free device. What you do after that doesn't matter to me. So that's kind of how we take care of that 15 scans or more a month, and we just try to work hard to get all of those in. And my daughter and I treat this like a full-time business, and so we try to do 15 scans a week. And out of that 15 scans that we try to set up, a lot of times we may complete 10, and out of that we're having amazing results with the amount of sales that are happening, not only for us personally, but by implementing this downline through our organization, our folks are seeing the same thing. And when Eric came on with us almost a month ago now and realized what we were doing, he said, "I'm glad to introduce people to you if you'll help me." And in 3 weeks' time, made it to executive director. But not only that, he created 6 additional executive team managers under that. So together we help these people gain success very quickly. And so in our organization total this last month, I think we had more than 8 executive team managers that we produced. So that's just a result of implementing a system and sticking with it. So I hope I didn't talk too long, too fast. Adriana, how did I do?
You did amazing. Just take the time to look at your chat. Thank you, Ray. Everybody wants to hear to have your script, and I know you're fantastic at teaching that, because I actually, even myself, I learned from you. That's why I'm so excited to have you here. And one thing, again, it's how Ray has a process and is consistent with it, never fails. He has his goal and aims for higher to able to do. And imagine that, 6 new executive team managers in January. Okay, this was with projection, with intention, and hard work. And you mentioned your daughter. How old is your Riley?
Riley is an amazing young lady. She's 23 years old and an incredible business person.
And she already achieved senior director, correct?
Yeah, at least director. Mm-hmm.
Yes, director.
She's on the move.
So imagine that, and they do wonderful presentations. You have tons of questions in terms of even from the beginning, whether it's virtual or in person. You're more of an in-person, correct? But again, this can be duplicated virtually as well.
Absolutely.
this can be done, and we've had previous meetings where we've shown also how to do it virtually. But not only is process the story, the company stories, how to the duplication model, but one of the things that I truly admire of what you're doing, Ray, and what you were able to do with Eric was that piece of training. It was inviting your new members to come to a gathering and bringing somebody that is interested in a free scan. And you use that moment to be able to say, hey, I'm not going to do the scan for you. Now take your device and do the scan yourself. And getting that new person kickstarted right then and there to let go of that fear and do a scan themselves, learn how to do it. And not only that, acquire potentially a new customer, a new member.
Absolutely. Their first training is when I sat down with them to do a free scan, because we're loading the Blue Dot app on their phone, using their phone, and they're borrowing my Healy to do their scan with. And so all of that information stays on their phone. And because of the repetition doing it, they start doing it without me coaching them. And so then it gives me the ability to say, see, I've already got you trained, because they're moving right through it. And as soon as they receive their Healy, they'll know exactly what to do. The app's already downloaded to their phone. I know it's working with their phone already, so I have no concern about them placing an order and then trying to figure out what videos do I watch to get this started.
Another thing I was actually asked myself is, and I know your process, you usually do, unless somebody tells you a specific concern, you usually do all Healy program scan. And then you dissect it from what the highest resonance that they had. And you have this, you use the program sheet, right? And then you specify to them what are the percentages that they have with each program and so forth. Can you let them know a little bit of that?
Yeah, we started off with the document that was in the back office because it had most of the all Healy programs on there. We went ahead and added some more to a new edition that we created that I felt good enough to leave with a practitioner and allow them to make copies of too. That way your client has a bird's eye view of what their scan looked like, and they can take it home and show their spouse as well. But it allows us to identify what are those top categories, top 5 categories, as well as the top 5 programs in those categories. And we're trying to identify, is there frequencies that are higher than 50%? Because if they're more than 50%, then it's something that they really need to address. And so then it also encourages them to go ahead and purchase their Healy. And I let them know that it takes 5 to 7 business days typically to receive your Healy. When would you like that to come? Also, I like to use statements like, on a scale from 1 to 10, with what you've just seen, 10 being the highest, how likely are you to purchase a Healy? And whatever number that they're giving me, if it's a 6, 7, 8, then I'm just saying, okay, so you need just a little bit more information before you're ready to do that. Let me send you a video, or let me introduce you to my friend David Pritchard, who's upline for me, or my friend Billy Orris, who is downline for me, or somebody that's sidelined like Denise Schumacher. Somebody I'm going to reach out to and introduce them to somebody that, even though I know all the answers, it's a lot more important to take the focus off of me being the specialist to, hey, we've got a team of people here to draw from.
Absolutely. Again, you have to go through all this chat. Amazing comments. Well, with that said, again, you just mentioned Denise, and I have to say, she's here. Yesterday, I had such a beautiful moment. I picked up a package, and she sent me a Greece calendar, because we promised at your meeting, Ray, that we were all going to go to Greece celebrating rank advancements in the future. So that is going to be my new addition to my office wall. It was such a beautiful gift. So thank you, Denise, and thank you to your team, Ray. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. And again, I suggest you go onto this chat because you have tons and tons of questions. But thanks to you, thanks to Riley, welcome to Eric, to the team, to David and Denise, and all of that you guys do. And of course, Terry also has to upline as well for all that you guys do. And you can all take a screenshot of this, right? Anything you want to say before we close?